Hi y'all, this is Brian from NOLA Aikido, here to share some more Japanese vocabulary with you. This is level 4, which has to do with techniques, attacks, and more. First, we'll take a look at ukemi. Ukemi is the art of receiving the technique, and it often involves falling or rolling away or sometimes being pinned. So uke attacks, nage makes peace by doing a technique to resolve the conflict, and then ukemi is the art of receiving the technique. So taking a back roll is ukemi, for example, or when I grab my partner and then suddenly I have to balance and stay connected in ikkyo, that's also ukemi. In our style of Aikido, ukemi is just as important as being nage. It's just as important to be a good attacker and to receive the technique well as it is to be the one who performs the technique. We find it just as interesting and we work on the ukemi quite a bit. Now let's look at different forms of attacks, starting with grabs. Katate dori is a single wrist grab. If my partner is standing in gyaku hamni, mirror image stance, like we talked about on our last video, that's gyaku hamni katate dori. Now if my partner switches their stance, so they're in I hamni, cross hand stance, and they grab my wrist, it's I hamni katate dori. Ryote dori is grabbing both wrists with both hands. And ryote dori is done in gyaku hamni, always, to have proper distance. Next up, kata dori. When someone grabs my shoulder, grabbing my gi, right about here, that's kata dori. And of course they're coming straight on, and they do it in gyaku hamni. If the nage offers their hand up high with their wrist at the level of their chin, and the uke walks up in I hamni and grabs that wrist, starting in I hamni like this, cutting down and switching stance at an angle, that's morote dori. Morote dori means two hands grabbing one wrist. Next, we have the strikes. Shomen uchi, a straight strike to the head. Come up the midline of your body, slide in, and strike. And we practice these strikes on our own too, which is called tsuburi. So shomen uchi, we want to arrive in I hamni. So if the uke has the right foot forward, we want to strike with our right hand. We generally, in our style, start, slide in, and strike. It's also possible to start in gyaku hamni, mirror image stance, step in, and strike as long as you end up in I hamni. The next striking attack is yokomen uchi. Yokomen uchi, we come up the midline, at the last minute we strike the side of the head. We come up the midline, and we strike sideways. What we don't want to do on yokomen is start way out here where we're wide open. We want to hold the midline and hold our space, and then we slide in and strike. For yokomen uchi, we start in gyaku hamni, although you could start in I hamni and step in. We start in gyaku hamni generally. We come up the midline, we slide in, and we strike the side of the head. But we start on the midline, and then we open and strike yokomen. Like this. On the other side, like this. Next, we have the punches. We start with a mid-level punch, chudan ski. So if our partner is, for example, in right side stance, we line up in I hamni and we punch into left side stance. Notice that I switch my hands, so I draw back my front hand when I punch with my back hand. So I generate more power like that. Stepping through and a relaxed punch. Next, there's jodan ski, or high level punch. For this one, we start in gyaku hamni, so if my partner has their left side, I put my right side forward, and I'm going to punch towards their chin. Notice I draw back my front hand and use my hips. I bring my hips into it and a relaxed punch. Jodan ski. Thank you very much for studying these words together. I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope that you're finding that with a little practice and a little repetition, it's getting easier each time. Domo, arigatou gozaimashita.